What is up, everybody? It's your boy Architect the Dreamer, back with episode 3 of Between the Lines. This is a show where I have the opportunity to talk to amazing reactors, content creators, artists, people in the sphere of music. And I have a guy that I'm super excited to talk to today. I have been following him for a decent while now. His name is David Wolfe. He is a fellow reactor. And dude, I love your content. I love what you bring to these songs. I love your energy. We were talking beforehand. You have a very calming energy, which as somebody who is ADHD golden retriever energy, I need that sometimes. So welcome, man. I'm so happy that you're here.
Man, thank you so much for having me. This is a blast. I don't get to do stuff like this. This is very cool.
Awesome. Well, I am so happy that you're here. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I want to kind of go back to the beginning. Obviously,
Sure.
Doing what we do, we are major lovers of music. And so what was your experience when you were growing up with music, your relationship with it, and kind of what made you fall in love with this particular art form?
Yeah. There's actually a really interesting pathway that
Okay.
it took for me. So growing up, my parents were really strict with what I listened to. It was
Okay.
all classical music
Okay.
and jazz and country for some reason. I don't know. I guess they thought it was, sanitized enough or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't exposed to a lot of rock music or whatever.
Okay.
And a friend came over and accidentally left his copy of Switchfoot's The Beautiful Letdown
Yeah.
at my house.
Such
and
a great album.
Dude, it's so good. It holds up.
Oh, Meant to
And,
Live is iconic.
one of the first songs I learned on guitar, honestly.
Is it really? Awesome.
Yeah. And so I put that thing in the CD player, and I felt like my mind exploded. I was like,
Yeah.
this is what music can sound like. And so I would go and I would buy CDs from the music store or whatever, and then I kind of lived in that pop punk alternative rock world for a while. And then I was on this trip with some friends, and my friend comes up to me and he's like, dude, check this out. Hands me his iPod, and it's In Regards to Myself by Under Oath.
Oh, wow.
And
That's an introduction to metal.
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. This is I've never heard screaming before. I didn't know you could do that, And I was like, why do I like this? This is cool.
Yeah.
So then, I went down the whole
Okay.
Under Oath, Devil Wears Prada, all that kind of jazz.
August Burns Red, Emery, Norma Jean, all that Solid State stuff.
All that good stuff. Yeah. All Solid State bands. Yeah. Dude. And it was, that during high school, that was my jam, all that emo, alternative, screamo kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. You and I have a very similar story with that. So I grew up very religious. And so I grew up listening to Christian top 40. Your Toby Max and your and I listened to things that were rock adjacent, which I still love these bands, but things like Reliant K and Hawk Nelson and
I love Reliant K.
Pillar was I thought Pillar was so heavy back in the day.
Dude.
And then it was around the same time in high school. I went to, I don't know if you're familiar with Cornerstone Festival. It used to be a huge festival in Illinois. And the particular year that I went was loaded with Under Oath, Devil Wears Prada, August Burns Red, Emery, Norma Jean. I'm trying to think of all of and then some of the more alternate, Joan Zetta and Juliana Theory and Reliant K and all of these bands that were as far as the way that I had been brought up, were kind of towing the line between secular and religious music.
We're a band of Christians. We're not a Christian band.
Exactly. Yeah, that whole thing. So that was kind of around the same time. And I think it was it was two things. It was that, and then when I was a junior in high school, I went on a missions trip, and I was introduced. I was part of the band, and we played a Seosin song, and we played a Cartel song. And so Cartel was my pop punk. And then that was when I started listening to Anne Berlin, and which I just saw them on their 20th anniversary tour of Never Take Friendship Personal, which was unbelievable. I think Matty Mullins is such a great replacement for Steven Christian. But
Mm.
yeah, so that's funny that we kind of have
That's
that
so cool.
similar upbringing. So growing up and kind of having this transformation of what you're listening to,
Hmm.
how did that affect? I guess even just the way you listen to music, because listening to something like country or classical or whatever, you listen to
Hmm.
that kind of music differently than you listen
Yeah.
to metal, hardcore, pop punk, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So how did you kind of see your tastes and the way that you listen to music evolve as you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was always very album focused because
Okay.
I would go to the store and buy the CD.
Mm-hmm.
I never I was always a generation behind everybody in tech. So like when everyone had
Right there with you.
disc players, I had a
Yeah.
tape deck. When everyone had
Uh-huh.
iPods, I had the disc player.
Mm-hmm.
So like
No
I didn't
skip?
get yeah, no skip.
Yeah.
I at least had that one. We splurged for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so like everyone was on iTunes, downloaded singles or on LimeWire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like by the time I got there, I was just always so focused on like I really like the album experience. So I
Mm-hmm.
download the whole album, even if I just like the one song. It's like I
Yeah.
gotta have the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I just that really shaped how I listened to stuff. I would kind of start from song one and go
Mm-hmm.
straight through, pretty much every time. And then when I got to like iPod era, MP3 player era, it was like, downloading random garbage off of LimeWire and
Yeah.
oh, I found this pop punk cover of a pops of Umbrella by
Oh yeah.
Rihanna,
Yeah.
like and I think I kind of went through like a random singles and stuff phase, but I think I just keep coming. I always come back to the albums, man,
Yeah.
and like uh during college and post college, I kind of went away from alternative music for 10 years or so.
Okay.
But even then, it was always albums.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went through this phase where I would just pick an artist that I'd never listened to, which is
Mm-hmm.
funny because this is what I'm doing right now with
Yeah.
reactions.
Oh yeah,
I
for
pick an
sure.
artist I'd never listened to and go, let's start with album one and go all the way to the end. So I did Queen, I did Pink Floyd, I did Led
Oh wow.
Zeppelin, all that stuff. So I think it was just like I got this hunger for like there's all this music out there
Mm-hmm.
that existed before I grew up or when I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's so much good stuff. I have to
Mm-hmm.
hear it all just
Yeah.
so I can say that I understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Which sounds like very much like you're very much a student of music then. Like you enjoy learning about different artists, different techniques and different
Yeah.
things like that. The library was my best friend growing up. So I would
Mm-hmm.
go to the library and do the same thing and grab a cassette or a CD and I'd listen to that CD until it ran ragged for the 3 weeks that you were allowed to have it out. We'd return it,
Yeah.
then move on to the next one. And
Mm-hmm.
you talk about albums, and that's one of the things that I love about your channel is you more than most reactors that I have come across do album reviews, full album reviews,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that because I think that's such a fun experience. And to be honest, like seeing you do that, it has like that's something that I'm going to be incorporating into like
Nice.
my members only stuff. So I
Oh,
don't
sick.
I have so many other like I do at least one video every day, sometimes two.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
so having all of that on my main channel is great, but I want to have that experience where I can
Mm-hmm.
sit down and listen cover to cover like we were when we were kids and we took the
Yeah.
booklet out and we just read the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics as
Yeah.
we were listening to it. So you also are a guitar player as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did that kind of start happening around the same time that you really started getting into that rock alternative stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Okay.
I would say I was like 11
Okay.
or so, and
Okay.
I really wanted to get into guitar. I went to Guitar Center. I had $120. I bought I bought that Strat, that Squire Strat back
Yeah,
there
I was gonna
for
say Squire.
99 bucks. And I think I bought the cheapest Marshall solid state amp you could buy. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure my parents helped me out with that.
Yeah.
And I just plugged it in with like some Dan Electro metal pedal,
Okay. Yeah.
and just chugging away playing Switchfoot or
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, man, it really I would literally just like when I this is also the time when like the internet was kind of starting to be
Yeah.
more of a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I can type in any song and guitar chords,
Yep.
and I can get the chords to any song I want.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is incredible. Like I
Yeah.
can just learn whatever I want. Of course, a lot of that stuff was out of my playing
Yeah.
abilities, but I would just learn. I'd learn the riffs I wanted to learn at least, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah. And then similarly with the going away from alternative stuff, I went away from electric guitar for a while, and I've just
Okay.
played acoustic for
Oh, wow.
years and
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And then around 2017 or so, I listened to this record by the Black Keys called Turn Blue.
Oh, great record.
I was in a big, blues phase,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's the guitar that I want to play. I want to play like that, like David Gilmour, like that
Yeah.
big bluesy,
Uh-huh.
sweeping kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But these days, I'm like trying to get back into the hard alternative, like hardcore kind of stuff with
Yeah.
the guitar.
When you were learning these songs, were you gravitating to more of a specific play style or a specific guitarist, or was it just whatever bands you were listening to and that you enjoyed?
It was most of the whatever bands I liked. I never have ever considered myself like a lead guitar player.
Okay.
I kind of always would pick the rhythm parts out maybe because they were easier. I don't know, but I just always enjoyed the rhythm guitar section. So I would learn, the big power chords and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and
Yeah.
mostly focused on certain bands. I wasn't really attached to particular guitarists in that way
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah. So you mentioned Switchfoot, obviously. What were some of the other
Mhm.
bands that like really were making you fall in love with like that genre and kind of that subculture of music?
Yeah, it was Switchfoot, like you said, Reliant K, Hawk Nelson. There was this one band called 11D7. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
knew them.
Oh yeah.
They were kind of weird,
Uh-huh.
but they're cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of it evolved into like Seosin, Bless the Fall.
Oh yeah.
But Under Oath was like the real big one. Like they've stuck with me through like forever. Like
Yeah.
if you've seen my stuff, like I talk about them all the time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then I like after the kind of Under Oath thing, it was Devil Wears Prada.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of bands that were like on the edge. Like I'm trying to think of them at the top of my head. Bands like Devil Wears Prada that were like really at the time really heavy for me. I'm like, they're kind of scary. I don't know, but I kind of like it. There's one or two songs that I kind of like, and I still feel like that sometimes with certain bands. I'm like, Lorna Shore kind of scares me, but I like it.
Yeah. For me, it was like when I went from the Under Oath stuff into like the August Burns Red and the Fit for a King and like
the
that
metalcore,
the really really heavy metalcore where there was nothing melodic. It was just it was all screaming. And I remember picking up Constellations, the record from August Burns Red, and I still had like this big boombox in my bedroom, and I would just play it on repeat. And like my parents again were crazy religious, and they're like, I was the kid who was like, turn that devil music off, like that was like and I was like, they have a song called Redemption, it's about like I was it's
good, I swear
they're screaming for Jesus, like this is
I definitely pulled that with my parents. Like, I bought it at the Christian bookstore.
I bought this at family Christian stores, like what are you talking about, like you were there.
Can't be that bad.
I remember, do you remember 5 years or what was the Reliant K album? It was like we should get jerseys because we make a good team, that era or whatever. They had a song on there that said the word damn in it, and it was in the context of like actual damnation. And I remember listening to that in the car and my dad being like, what did he just say? And I was like, you can read the lyrics, but that's hilarious. That's funny.
So Reliant K
go ahead.
Like it was so I don't know. I burned those albums out. Like all that whole era of Reliant K. I would play Need for Speed on my Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
And of course, all the music on there I didn't love, so I'd turn the music track off and I'd play Reliant K.
Oh man, it's I remember listening to their first couple albums. My At the time, my aunt and uncle lived in Chicago, and they had this basement that had like a pool table, and it had like some other stuff. And me and my cousins would just go down there every time we'd go over, and we would just throw on Reliant K
Yeah.
and just blare "Be My Escape" on repeat
Oh,
until
classic.
everybody told us to shut it off. But
Yeah, yeah.
so you kind of started with the classical, the country, you moved into the rock alternative, even into some of the metal, and then you mentioned that you kind of like took a break from that for a while and kind of started
Yeah.
listening to other stuff. What was that experience like, and what was kind of the catalyst of that?
So it's gonna sound really stupid, but it all comes back to Under Oath. It always does.
Really?
Like
Okay.
when they broke up, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess no one's making metal anymore.
Oh
Like
wow.
I don't know. There was
Yeah.
something because like they were just the thing that tied me to the scene.
Yeah.
And so when Aaron left, and then when the band broke up in what
Mm-hmm.
2011 or so,
So was this around
I
the time
that
that he was doing the Almost?
yeah,
Or
almost
yeah.
was
Okay.
great. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Aaron left, and then Disambiguation came out, which is the
Mm-hmm.
first album with, or the only album without Aaron. They
Yep.
got the drummer from Norma Jean,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is dark, this is heavy. I listened to that album a ton in college, and like because they were kind of the thing that tied me to the scene, and none of my friends also, like I grew up, with a couple of friends who would listen to that stuff, and they just didn't connect with them after high school really.
Mm.
I didn't have a lot of friends in college who listened to that stuff, so I just stopped listening to it. And in my head, I just was like, I guess that music's not popular anymore. Scene kids aren't
Interesting.
around anymore,
Yeah.
so like it must not exist. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize Bring Me the Horizon was dropping
Oh my
like
goodness.
all this
That
incredible music and
was that around the
whatever.
time when Sempiternal came out?
I
Because
think it
that
was
was
like
20, or was
right
that
before.
the split, the black, I can't, for the
Oh,
gods, or
there's a
there's a
heaven,
heaven, there's a hell.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
that would have been
It's
that time.
around that time, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I just didn't know that the stuff was coming out. So I had also been starting to get into like the White Stripes and the
Mm,
Black Keys, all this kind of like garagey blues rock kind of stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know, I went down this whole rabbit trail of like blues and garage rock and indie rock,
Mm-hmm.
the like um Mumford and Sons and
Oh
all
yeah.
that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Lumineers and
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And like and then it just I don't know. So I pretty much the entire 2010s I didn't listen to anything heavy except
oh wow.
for Under Oath's reunion album in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, they're back.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And I'm like, it's not it doesn't hit quite like it used to.
Yeah.
That's good for them though.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of went on with my life. And then John Mayer, all these like kind
Oh
of really
man.
guitar focused stuff,
Yeah.
listening to like I said, Zeppelin and all them
Mm-hmm.
bands. And then COVID comes around,
Yeah.
and I'm locked up in my house. I got nothing to do. I was working from home, and my wife was not. So
Okay.
I was alone in the house all the time. I was kind of depressed, just on YouTube,
Yeah.
and it was Pisces by Ginger.
Yeah.
I heard a clip from that
Mm-hmm.
either on TikTok or on YouTube, and I was like, "What is this? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is." It was one of those moments where I was like, "Oh, people are still doing this, huh?" Like
Well, and
people,
way to find like the top of the top of the mountaintop for like female
yeah,
vocalists and screamers at the, because this was
dude, yeah,
prior to Spirit Box really like coming into their
yeah.
own as well. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I remember just being obsessed with that song, and
yeah.
I watched every single reaction. So this is also the beginning of my like really getting into reactions too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found Parasite Eve
Oh yeah.
by Bring Me the Horizon. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I wish Imagine Dragons sounded like. This is
Yeah.
what I think Imagine
Yeah.
Dragons think that this music sounds like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is like people have been making all this like heavy stuff for the past 10 years, and I've been missing out on it.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of followed Bring Me through that first post-human cycle,
Yeah.
and I started to find like bands like Architects and stuff like that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is I've missed out on some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I like I
But what a
started to think,
gift, though. Like, what a gift to
yeah,
like be able to come back to a genre of music that you loved but kind of fell away from and realize you have 10 to 15 years of, well, I guess at that time it would have been like 10 years of
yeah,
albums and new bands that came onto the scene and all this kind of stuff that you're like,
yeah.
there was never going to be a shortage of stuff for you to listen to.
Right. Like I got to listen to the three like Perfect Architects albums back
Yep.
to back to back, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
which is really cool, you know,
It's like
which is
binging a
also a
TV
thing.
show that's already done.
Yes, you know, there's a piece of me that every time a show ends, I'm like, perfect. Now's the time to start. You
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
yeah, so that those bands really kind of brought me back into the scene, and then from
Yeah.
then I've just been like trying to catch up, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, you mentioned Ginger, you mentioned Architects, Bring Me the Horizon. As you have kind of like, like from a present tense, as you have now
Hmm.
kind of like gotten back into all of that music and have been listening to it for quite a while now, what are some of the bands that have really just like put themselves at the top of your list of like, obviously us as reactors, we want to react to a variety of different things, but they're
Hmm.
like, for me, like Linkin Park's my favorite band of all time. So like
Yeah, they're
I
great.
I started reacting after Linkin Park dropped their album, but then they dropped the final
Oh,
3 singles with the deluxe
hmm.
edition, so I got to react to all of those.
Oh,
Are there any
great.
bands that are kind of at the top of your list of like, man, every time this band puts a new single out or a new album out, like they are immediately going to the top of my list?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Honestly, it's a lot of the same stuff that a lot of people really like. It like Architects. I still really like them. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of people have kind of fallen off, but I think this last record was pretty good.
The last record was fantastic. I
Yeah,
really
and
enjoyed it.
yeah, dude, I don't know what happened to them for those couple of years, but they're
Yeah.
back. You know, but
I want to say it was maybe a label thing, but
yeah, I
who
wouldn't be
knows?
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, them like still Prada and Under Oath
Hmm.
are really big for me.
Yeah.
But more recent discoveries, Loathe. When
Oh yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
I Let It In for the first time, I couldn't recover for like a day. I was like,
Yeah.
who said music could be like this,
Yeah.
like this brutal and this beautiful
Hmm.
at the same time? And it's one of
Yeah.
those I kick myself for not like recording it because
Yeah.
it was right before I started my channel,
Okay.
you know, and I had just missed it, you know.
Yeah,
Them,
they're like a
yeah.
band that like if I was living in the world of doom and I was going and killing like all of these aliens and creatures, that's
Yeah,
the kind of music that I would want like blaring in the background.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, them and like I would say North Lane's probably the other one.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
heard Alien for the first time, and it was another one of those moments of like, oh my goodness, like this
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, those type of I really enjoy contrast. Oh,
Mm,
Spirit Box too. You know, it's a
yeah.
similar thing. I
Hmm.
love the back and forth between the harsh and the clean vocals,
Yeah.
especially if there's two vocalists, like
Hmm.
in a Devil Wears Prada
Yeah.
or Under Oath. Something about that really hits for me, and so I love bands with contrast between like the beauty and the brutality and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So any of those bands that give me that particular feeling are right
Hmm.
to the top of my list.
Yeah. Yeah. The bands that can like literally murder you with a breakdown, but then have piano and
Hmm.
like a or like an a cappella vocal or something like that in the
Yeah.
same thing. I think we're very similar in terms of like Under Oath was one of the first bands that really got me into this whole genre,
Hmm.
and Aaron Gillespie and Spencer, the duality
Yeah.
of them felt so yin and yang for so
Yeah.
long, where it was this like because even like A Boy Brushed Red, Living in Black and White, which was
Hmm.
like one of the first songs that I covered in when I was like playing in metal bands
Oh,
when I was younger.
cool.
Was it was so fun to do because it was such this like soft vocal from Aaron and then immediately
Hmm.
going into these just like brutal screams from Spencer.
Yeah.
I think that it's a good metaphor for life because I
Yeah.
think we all have those moments where we're like driving in our car and like something awful happened and we're just like I just need to scream this out, and there that you have
Mm.
that, but then you also have like the emotion just speaking for Aaron specifically, but like the emotion that Aaron has in his voice is so prevalent to where you can another band that I love, and they haven't done anything for a long time. I think they're technically still touring, but is Oh Sleeper. I don't know if you ever really got into them at all.
I have not.
Okay, so they were around that same time period, and they were a little bit more on like the chaotic side of the metalcore.
Okay.
But they had two vocalists, Micah Kennard, who is the screamer, and then Shane Blay, who is the guitar player and the clean vocalist. And it was very much the same thing. And I do highly recommend going back, and they put out their first three albums are borderline perfect in my opinion. Son of the Morning, which is their second record, is, I mean, I literally have the symbol from the tattoo or from the cover tattooed on me. Phenomenal record. But their duality of having Micah just had really brutal screams, but then Shane just had a voice like butter, and it was it was so nice to kind of to have that back and forth.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I if you're into those other bands from that era, highly recommend it, because they were kind of like 2008 to 2015, 2016-ish is kind of was like their heyday. But so you kind of get back into this scene, get back into this kind of music, and then I think COVID is honestly where a lot of people either started doing reactions or started watching reactions, because we were all stuck at home, and we weren't able to necessarily have the community that we had before, where we were like talking to people at work or talking to people when we were at shows or whatever, because nobody was was doing shows, and so. It was kind of, I think that was really 2020, 2021 was kind of like the boom of reactions. When did you kind of start to feel this this moving, or this desire to go from appreciating it as a consumer into, hey, this looks like fun. This might be something that I also want to do.
Yeah. So I have kind of been obsessed with YouTube as a culture and as a platform since it started.
Yeah.
Like I was really big into like vlogs back, like Hank and John Green, you know them?
Oh yeah.
Like
I was reading John's books like while they were doing stuff on YouTube.
yes. Yeah. So like that was a big part of my growing up. I always saw YouTube as this really interesting medium that I wanted to do, and I threw a couple things at the wall a few times in college. Like I tried to do a gaming channel. I did 2 episodes of a Minecraft Let's Play, and that's somewhere out there. You know, I was on 3 different like vlog channels where we would make 1 video a week and kind of talk back and forth in this kind of interesting way.
Okay.
I mean, they're not interesting now because it's like I'm some 17-year-old just yapping about how I went to college and ate a burrito that day. Like, you know,
hey, who doesn't want to talk about burritos, man? Who doesn't want to?
You know, yeah, probably what I'm having for dinner tonight, honestly. But like, so I just kind of always wanted to do something on YouTube, and I never knew what it was. Yeah. And eventually, I started to know that it's going to be music one way or another. Whether I'm playing guitar or I'm reviewing albums, because I started to watch like Anthony Fantano. I really liked his content. Even though I don't think he knows anything about metalcore or alternative music.
I don't really take his opinions about this genre super seriously.
No.
But
when he does rate an album highly, I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's
okay,
like
maybe there's something here. But like, but he's like, oh, you know, Sleep Token is not good. I'm like, okay, whatever. But so like that type of content I really liked, and I started to think about, I want to do music reviews, but I'm not a writer. I just, it's not in me. English was my worst class.
Which is so shocking to me, because like, again, one of the things that really captured me about your reactions in your channel is you're so well spoken and articulate and so calming in the way that you speak about these things, and it really feels like it's just really well thought out, and there's a lot of thought that's put into both what you're going to say, but then also how you're going to say it. So that's interesting
I
to me,
appreciate that.
and hopefully that's a little bit of an encouragement to you. But
Yeah. No, I have a hard time getting my thoughts like onto a page. Like I overthink things. I want to edit everything as soon as it comes out of my fingers. You know, I know you're supposed to just like type and go back and fix stuff, but like I can't do that. You know, so I don't know. So then I've been thinking about this, and I'm still constantly listening to music, and then COVID happens, and I start watching all these Pisces reactions, and you know all these other reactions to all the other bands I mentioned. And I started to have this little inkling in the back of my head that's like, hey, what if I did reactions, because people seem to like those. But then I talk about it for a long time afterwards and get I sneak my review in the back door, you know? And so like I started to think about this, and I was like, okay, I just need to find the right song, the right whatever. And I was at work one day, and this was during a time when nobody was really in the office except me. I was just kind of at the office answering the phone by myself. And what was it? Slaughter to Prevail dropped.
Oh yeah.
What was that song? Baba Yaga, I think it was.
Okay.
And they're a band that I don't really review anymore for reasons.
Yeah.
but I was like, I on the computer, you know, I saw this song dropped, and I was like, I got to do it. I'm going to do it right now. And my work has a video studio, and I'm the only person in the building. And I'm like, why don't I just go in there and I'll just record this right now and see what happens. So I record it. I edit it real quick. I throw it up there, maybe within an hour and a half of the song coming out, and people started watching it, which was like extremely surprising for me, because I was expecting to post this and get 12 views, like like all my other experiments had done, you know. And by the end of the day, I had 1,000 views and 100 subscribers, and I was like, this is incredible.
So like, when you started, was that like from scratch, like 0 subscribers to 100 in that first day?
I think I had 6. Okay. Like I had, and they were my friends from high school. You know, like That's so it was awesome, like that first day was like a big jump, and I just kept watching that video like climb up and up and up, and I was like, what is going on? Like, why are people watching this? And like, but I guess I did something. So then I was like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? So I just started like ravenously, like, okay, Prada's dropping and this band is dropping. And so I would make these calendars of like release calendars of like, you know, I'm going to plan out my week. And I would do a couple of videos at work. I started like doing videos on my couch while my wife was at work with my phone clipped into some like stupid little phone holder.
You were recording your videos on your phone?
Yeah. So I have up until very recently, I've had a very janky and backwards recording process, and I could get into it, but like so like, so with the phone thing, I just didn't have I didn't have like an audio interface that worked. I didn't have a PC that worked. I just had my MacBook. And so right away I knew I needed to fix a couple things. I'm like, I need to fix the audio, number one. And then I need to fix the video. And so I would record on my phone, and I would literally go 3, 2, 1, and I'd press play on my laptop, and I would sync the video in post. And I still kind of do that sometimes. Because I don't trust OBS all the time. So I still, for really like for music video type content, I still pull it up on my monitor, and I go 3, 2, 1, and I tap my keyboard really, really loud to get the little ping on the audio. But yeah, so that I lost my track of thought. We were we were talking about the beginning of reacting.
Your process,
yeah. So I started with my phone. I went out and I bought this DSLR camera off of Craigslist in a parking lot, real sketchy, you know, for $500. And I bought one of those little clip-on lavalier mics. and I
Yeah.
just did my best for a long time, just kind of like, you know, maximum 5 videos a week. I don't think I've really ever done more than that.
Okay.
And I just from there it just kind of snowballed, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I feel like the parallels between you and I is kind of crazy. Where I had done previous projects. So I've done a few different podcasts that I've tried to do specifically on YouTube. So outside
Yeah.
of the other thing, and the first couple of them were kind of comedy podcasts. So
Okay.
I do improv, and I've
Oh,
done
sick.
stand up comedy before. And then one of my best friends, Mikey, doesn't, but he should. He's absolutely
Sure. Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And so he was living in Canada at the time, and which is where he's from. So we started a podcast called the Yankee Hoser Show, which was like
Okay.
I was the Yankee, he was the hoser, and it was just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this crazy. We would do like would you rather questions. We would do like
Yeah.
crazy news. So like what did Florida man do today, and like just different. And we would just like riff on all of that. And we did that for a while, and then that particular format we kind of like felt like we needed to take a break from. So we came back, still the two of us. We started another show called the Bestie Boys, which was more of just him and I just actually like talking and having conversations about random
Yeah.
different things, versus having like a strict format of like, we need to do this, we need to do this. And again, that was fun. But then his partner lived in Australia. He moved to Australia. So the timing of everything
Yeah.
kind of like made it so that we could.
Yeah.
You mentioned video games, which we're going to get into that a little bit later,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I started a video game podcast called The Lazy Gamers, and that went
Okay.
for 20 odd episodes or so. And then some stuff went down with my co-hosts, and I kind of had to remove myself away from that. And so I was at this place where like I started my first podcast in 2014, and it was like a nerd,
Okay,
it was a
yeah.
nerdy like pop culture, comics and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I've been doing this for a long time, and all of my projects I've ever done have eventually fizzled out, not because of me, but because my co-hosts didn't have the same commitment to it as I did.
Sure,
And
sure.
I was the one that was always doing the editing. I was always doing all of the back end work and getting it on
Yeah.
hosting platforms and making sure that everything we had artwork for everything and whatnot. So when that project ended early this year, I took a break for a while and was trying to come up with something that I could do on my own. So I started kind of just doing streaming. I wasn't really like putting out content. I was just streaming on YouTube,
Okay.
Twitch, and TikTok, and just streaming video game. And I would just
Yeah.
game. And I was kind of hoping, okay, maybe I can take this and over to YouTube at some point and either have clips or maybe I can build a following by doing this. And it wasn't really doing much of anything like I wanted it to. And then I was like, wait a minute, reactions, I can do that alone. I don't necessarily need anybody else for that. I can sit down in front of a computer, and in 20 minutes I can have a video recorded and have it edited and do it all and have it ready within an hour. And I don't have to rely on anybody else. And so that was kind of the catalyst for me, was like, I like creating content. I like talking about music, but I'm tired of people flaking on me. And so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do this, because then I can just, and it was literally, I kid you not, I made the decision on a Sunday, and Emergence dropped that Friday.
Dude,
and I was,
what a
and I was
time.
like, oh man, new Sleep Token. I think this is like, if there was any sign
It's
for
a
me to start
sign.
this channel,
Yeah.
it was now. And I had the exact same situation. At the time I had about 600 subscribers, but that was from 10 years of,
Oh, wow.
of music content, that music videos and lyric videos and things like that I had put on
Okay.
there, that I had just kind of slowly gained over time. And literally I dropped that video, and same thing, within a day it had 1,000 views, and I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Like
Yeah.
all of
Such,
those
like-
600 subscribers I had, as far as I, like, none of them interacted. So I was like,
Right.
they're kind of like dead subscribers, you know, like they're
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not dead, but like,
Right,
and
right.
if
They're
you were
not-
part of that 600, I love you and I'm glad you're still here. But like they were, most of them were people that subscribed to me years ago, and
Right.
I hadn't really put any content out in a long time. And so I wasn't expecting much from that. And it was literally like, after that first week of reactions, I was like, YouTube's algorithm is the best algorithm when it comes to content creation. I
Yeah,
think that
man.
there is right now. I tried
Yeah.
TikTok. Like I almost have 100,000 subscribers or
Oh,
followers on
sick.
TikTok, but that was during the a lot of that growth was during that COVID couple of years there
Yeah.
when TikTok was booming and when their algorithm was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then Instagram was good for a while with Reels, and then that algorithm like started not really pushing this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
my experience with YouTube has been like I still have videos that only get 100 views or 150
Oh,
views or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm also reacting to some pretty obscure stuff. Like
Right.
I
Right.
don't stick to like just one genre. So I react to metal and alternative and folk and hip
Mm-hmm.
hop and
Oh,
R&B
sick.
and
Yeah.
pop and like whatever because I love all those different kinds of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so sometimes I won't get very many views, but first of all, that's not like why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I
Yeah.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
but also the consistency at which like I'll maybe have a couple videos that won't do great, but then I'll have one that gets 4 or 5,000 views. And then
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
have Gethsemane. The reaction I did to Gethsemane is I think my number one video right now with almost 40,000 views,
Nice. Dude,
and
that's sick. That's
which is
awesome.
unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And like I will have to be forever grateful to Sleep Token. I love them as a band
Mm-hmm.
anyways, but like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they've done for my channel, and then Ren is another one that like the
Mm.
Renegades and the Reniverse have been pretty crazy with that. And I don't know if you're familiar with him.
You know, he's one that I've heard a lot. His name comes up a lot. I
Yeah.
have not dipped my toe,
Yeah,
partially for fear of
I get that.
the vibes. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot of intense feelings about this guy, and
There is.
I
But I
don't
will
know.
say my experience so far has been almost exclusively positive.
That's
With
good.
just
That's good.
really supportive people, really encouraging people. And I think authenticity is such a huge thing in
Mm,
just reactions in general. And that was something that I felt from you from the jump as well, was just like
mm,
you're not afraid to say positive or negative things about something
sure.
regardless of what maybe the general consensus is. You're going
Yeah.
to be true to I'm not sure how I feel about this, or I'm really
Mm.
everybody else is talking mad crap about this, but I'm
Right.
really vibing with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a super important thing.
Mm.
So you started that in 22, 23,
I think 21.
21.
So
Okay.
it's been it yeah, because I just the fourth anniversary of my first upload was like a few weeks ago.
Okay. Awesome.
Um, so it's been a slow journey to wherever I'm at now. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it. There was a long period where like if I broke 1,000 views, it
Hmm.
was like that was a huge deal. I
Yeah.
was getting
Yeah.
consistently a couple hundred, usually in the under hundreds,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then there was a period where I was doing pretty well right at the beginning of 2024,
Okay.
and I felt this need to like there's some momentum here. I have to chase it, and so
Hmm.
I did some pretty big projects. I did this video I'm really proud of to this day that has maybe 400 views, and it
Hmm.
is the most work I've ever put into a video ever. It
Which one?
was it's I forget what I called it, but basically I got the sauces from Hot Ones, and I got my
Oh,
friend who can't stand to listen to screaming music, and I picked 5 songs that go from Light to Lorna Shore.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and so then I was like, okay, here's the deal. If you can make it through the song, I got to eat the hot sauce. If you can't make it through and you have to stop, you got to eat the hot sauce. And
That's
so we
such
did this thing.
Have you only done just the one?
I did, and because it was so much work and nobody
Yeah.
saw it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still really like that video. I think it's hilarious, because like when his reactions to like, to the Hellfire and
Yeah.
Gourd
Oh,
by
yeah.
Loathe are like,
Yeah.
he's just like, what is happening? This is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
And then it ends with us both trying the last dab and
Yeah.
just eating out of an ice cream container.
That's amazing. I'm such a Hot Ones fan, so like
Yeah.
that's so funny, and that very much feels like when they have like the actor versus actor, and they like ask the questions
Yeah.
where like if you don't answer it, you got to eat a wing. But then
Yes.
that's what
Yeah.
that feels. I love that. I feel like First of all, I need to go find that video because
You
that's
should.
that's
It's pretty
that's
fun.
amazing content. I love it. I feel like that would be such a fun thing to like to do and just like get people who don't listen to this genre,
Yeah.
just like it could be friends, it could be people sign up. And I mean, at this point you have enough subscribers, I'm sure you probably have
Yeah.
like people that maybe don't listen to a specific type or note or whatever, and just like be like, all right,
Yeah.
we're doing the metal wing challenge, and like
Right,
just
right.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's so fun.
I had a lot of fun with it, but yeah, so that
Yeah.
really kind of discouraged me for, and then I just had
That's valid.
a bunch of videos that like I really was happy with and proud of,
Hmm.
album videos specifically, that just kept getting blocked, and I
Oh, it's
got
so frustrating.
so frustrated. I was
Yeah.
like, I am nearly done. Like last summer, I was about to give up. Like I was, because I
Oh
was
man.
getting terrible views. I was like, almost every other video would get blocked, and I'm like, I am so frustrated with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had some personal stuff going on last fall that just made everything worse, you know. And then Linkin Park started picking up, and that reunion stream that
Hmm.
they did, I
Yeah.
recorded my reaction to that on a whim. Like,
Oh wow. Okay.
it comes out at 6 o'clock. I'll just get home from work and I'll sit down
Yeah.
and I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll film my whole reaction to it, because
Yeah.
I had finally gotten my process down to where I could actually record a video that long, because I wasn't
Hmm.
using my cell phone anymore
Yeah.
or my janky DSLR.
Yeah.
Um, and that video did, I think, 170,000,
Oh wow. That's
and I
amazing.
was like, "What?" It blew my mind. I was like, "People really like Linkin Park." Huh? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up like
I mean, that's
tangentially
how I found
listening to
you.
them. Yeah,
So
yeah, right. I mean, a lot of people did.
yeah.
And of course, that video is blocked now because UMG is the worst. But I don't,
Sadly.
it's whatever. But
Yeah.
Linkin Park, like similarly with Sleep Token for you, like they kind of like, I feel like I owe this version of my channel to them, because
Yeah.
I realized everyone loves Linkin Park. And I had these people who were like ravenous, and I was
Hmm.
like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm like, I've already heard most of their records, like the early stuff. And I was like,
Hmm.
I haven't heard all of them. So I started just like doing all the singles, and I would just
Hmm.
drip like, okay, here's of course I can't think of any of the names now, but all the 2010 records.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Um,
One More
I
Light
would,
and like
yeah.
that era of yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I do one of those, like one a month leading up to the release of the new record,
Hmm.
and those did really well. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, because people are enjoying these longer videos. I really enjoy making them, and
Hmm.
it also lined up with that thing that I used to do in college, which was pick an artist and start
Yeah.
from album one and go to the end.
Yeah.
So then somebody was like, "Oh, you've never heard System of a Down? You should do System of a Down." And I was like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
So and I did System, and then from System, there was a song featuring Chino, or maybe I found Chino through Mike Shinoda.
That's actually the band that, yeah, a liftoff. I talked about that
Yeah,
on one of the other episodes.
yeah,
Deftones is the band that I'm starting my album journey with
dude,
on that, because I've
have a
never
great
listened to
time.
Deftones for whatever reason. It's just a band that eluded me, not because I don't like them or anything. It was just like I just didn't listen to them for whatever reason.
Same,
But yeah,
same, yeah, yeah. So I did System, and I'm still working on Deftones. Um, and I'm still working on Tool. I started Tool recently,
hmm,
which was another band that I was like a little skeptical on, because their fans, man,
yeah,
they're really intense, but they've been nice, especially because like, at the beginning of the season, I was like, or the beginning of that series, I was like, listen, we're gonna behave and we're gonna chill. If I don't like your favorite song, it's
yeah,
not anything against you,
yeah,
like.
yeah. This is not a
But
personal attack.
yeah, but because of those album videos, I feel like I've been able to kind of decouple myself from the chasing singles all the time. I
Yeah,
felt like for a while I felt trapped by like, there's no good songs coming out this week.
yeah,
What am I supposed to put out? And if I don't
yeah.
put out a video this week, the algorithm's going to forget me,
Hmm.
and my channel's going to die, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So now that I have this thing that I've always kind of been passionate about, which is discovering older music,
yeah,
and I realized that people are interested in that. Of course they are. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know why I didn't think of this.
Yeah.
And it allows me to, like, okay, I have this bed of content that I can put out, one or two a week. And
Yeah.
when new songs come out, I'll cover those. They may do well, they might not. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my stuff that I'm working on, and people are here for it, which is amazing.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I think it's what we're doing now. I think is kind of the evolution of like for me, like being younger and going to Barnes and Noble and picking up a copy of Alternative Press and being like,
Yeah.
this is a band that I'm into. I want to listen to or either read this interview, or Alt Press had a podcast for a while. Which was like, this was back in like the heyday of like All Time Low and Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy and like all those Fueled by Ramen bands and like that whole era of stuff. But I feel like you now have, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, I'm 35. So we're from the same era, and I think we're now to the point where like either like people in our age are now having kids that are getting old enough to introduce to the kind of music that we grew up in, similarly to how our parents did with us. Because like I grew up listening to Journey in Boston and Chicago and Queen and stuff like that, and it was, and so now there's this new generation of 10 to 20-year-olds who are discovering these bands that we grew up and loved.
Yeah.
And because they're now living in a world where they can find content at their fingertips at any time, they're going on and saying, Define the Great Line album review about Under Oath. Awesome. Yeah. And the number of videos I've seen on like, even on TikTok, of people like discovering Paramore for the first time and like, listening to Riot. And it's like, but these are like 18-year-olds who like, I was 18. I don't remember. No, Riot came out in 2005, I think. So I was 15 when that album came out. And it's funny. And I think like, if there's any time to be doing what you're doing specifically, it's now, because people, we are in this like instant gratification world where people will listen to an album or listen to a song, and then they immediately, if it's, and let's be real, like, I think this genre that you and I are really a part of is still kind of deemed as like outsiders by kind of the general of society. And so like when I was growing up listening to this, I didn't really have any friends that listened to this kind of stuff. And so now these kids that maybe don't have the friends or don't have the community are finding that community online. And what better place to find that community than like somebody who's talking about on a YouTube where you can interact in a comment thread or whatever. Your post-traumatic album review was like the thing that just like made me fall in love with you as a reactor.
Oh, thank you.
Mike Shinoda is like my biggest influence in what I do, both as a producer, as an engineer, as an artist, because I do kind of toe the line between hip hop and heavier stuff. And so seeing you do that, because like I mean I listened to that album on repeat the day that it dropped. Really? But I'm one of those people that like I love to see other people's thoughts on this kind of stuff. And so I think I had followed you, and it was not long after that where I discovered that video, and I was like, man, I love this. And so I want you to know that like your desire and your vision of like what you have for your channel, you're accomplishing what you're setting out to do, because it is a unique path in this reaction place where a lot of people are doing that chasing thing that you're talking about, where like they're chasing these singles and they're trying to, and I even do that as well. To some extent, I think you kind of have to, if you want to actually like progress in this. That doesn't make it inauthentic. It's just kind of the nature of what it is that we're doing. How have you seen yourself change in the way that you approach doing these reactions, whether it's singles or albums, kind of since you started? Because for me, only doing this for a few months now, I'm still kind of trying to find my voice in my lane of like what kind of reactor am I going to be in. Like
Right.
as an artist and producer, I tend to lean more into like the lyrical and the like technical dissection of the music and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
for you going from that first video in 2021 to where
Mm-hmm.
you're at now, how have you seen yourself grow, and how have you seen that approach change over that time?
Yeah. So I kind of, I don't know, when I first started, I definitely kind of fell into the trap of like I would kind of pick up the mannerisms of whoever I was watching the most at the time. So I would pick up weird little phrases from Nick
Yeah.
or from Metal Burb or
Oh yeah.
whoever I was watching,
Yeah.
and like I think I've really made a conscious effort to like we're not doing that. We're not
Mm-hmm.
like I have to be myself.
Yeah.
And who I am is not the wacky, crazy,
Mm-hmm.
screaming and falling out of my chair guy.
Yeah.
Like it's just not me. And so I understand that maybe my videos are a little less, high energy, but I think there's a certain person out there who wants something a little more vibey. Yeah, something a little more vibey, a
Yeah.
little more chill.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went into it with like this mindset of like, I don't know who I want, what my voice is. I did know what I wanted my production to look like from the get go, but I couldn't
Yeah.
achieve it until pretty recently,
Mm-hmm.
because of money stuff, honestly. Because
Yeah.
like I
That's
do
fair.
video production, is part of my job. So I know what I'm doing in terms of that stuff, but the gear just wasn't there,
Yeah.
So I was like making it work with like the most ghetto nonsense, and and honestly, because of Linkin Park, I've been able to like this light here and like this desk and all this
Yeah.
stuff like was
Yeah.
funded by my Patreon from those couple months when everyone was freaking out from Linkin Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so like I am super grateful for that. And so I finally feel like now I'm at the point where like my videos, they look like I want them to look, they sound like I want them to sound, and they have the real voice of me who like I feel like I'm finally getting into this like what I want to be doing, which is a little more thoughtful, a little more like relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And I still kind of go back and forth of like, should I analyze the instruments? Should
Mm.
I analyze the lyrics? Because I'm not really a lyrics person. If I'm
Mm.
being totally honest, I
No.
listen
Yeah.
to music and I hear the vocals and I can almost just hear them as an instrument.
As
Like
the
all my
melody that's
favorite,
being sung.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I even those Under Oath albums that I love, love, love. I honestly, some of them I don't know the words.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask me, I
Yeah.
don't. Like
Yeah.
I'm like because I didn't have the lyrics with
Yeah.
me. I had them on my iPod,
We don't
and
lyric
I
shame
just
here, though. Just because you don't know lyrics doesn't mean you don't love the band.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, so I would just be like, I think he's saying this because he's screaming. I don't know what he's saying, but
Mm-hmm.
it gets to my heart because of the emotion of it. And so I still am trying to figure out exactly how I analyze things, but I think I mostly just kind of go off, how did it make me feel?
Yeah.
How did this song hit me?
Mm-hmm.
Like did I have that spark in my heart when I heard that guitar part? Did one of the lyrical lines really speak to me, or did a production decision or something speak to me in
Mm-hmm.
that way? I
Yeah.
think I'm kind of always chasing that spark
Yeah.
of like of something joyful inside of me
Mm-hmm.
for hearing that music. So I, I think a lot of times I kind of am like, yeah, the song was pretty good. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
and I kind of just like break down like I liked this, I didn't like this, and
Yeah.
I can't really. I'm not going to give you a number. Like
Yeah.
I can't. It's all subjective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm still working on that part of it, but I finally feel like at least with the path that I'm going down, I finally feel good about it in that way.
Yeah. I was talking to my partner about you and preparing for this, and I was like, he kind of like feels to me like if NPR listened to actually good music and talked about it, like just your tone and
Sure,
again like
sure.
kind of like your whole vibe and everything. I think I'm kind of like, so I listen to a lot of music that is very emotionally moving, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of like
Mm-hmm.
I'm autistic and I wear my emotions. I can't hide my face. Like
Sure,
it
sure,
is what
yeah.
it is. And so I think like the number of comments that I get that are basically in a matter of ways saying like thanks for crying on camera, like
Yeah.
is like,
Oh
which
yeah,
like
yeah.
I haven't full blown like sobbed on camera yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely like, Gethsemane
Oh,
wrecked
it's
me.
coming.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I just did a review of Zombie by Youngblood, which
Okay.
came out recently and is a song about like nurses and doctors. And
Mm.
Florence Pugh is actually an actress in the music video,
Oh,
and
cool.
she's an incredible actress. And so
Yeah.
it was very, very well performed. And like I had to stop at the end and was like, oh my God, like I'm
Mm.
like, but that's kind of like I feel like
Yeah.
I've kind of become just like I'm the emotional reactor, and
Hey,
lyrics
that's
are kind of
great. That's
where that's
great.
at. But that's the thing I love about what it is that we do is there is a lane for everybody. Some people
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like nobody on YouTube is going to dissect lyrics like Knox Hill. There's just nobody that's
Mm-hmm.
going to. That man and his knowledge of words and lyrics and just like lore and history is
Mm.
insane. But then you do have other reactors that are like all energy and like
Yeah.
get you
Yeah.
pumped up, which is
And those are fun
amazing.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
there's something for
yeah.
everybody. But I think the cool thing is like I watch all of them. So like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like Orion and Metal Burb and
Yeah.
the Steve OG and like
Yeah.
those guys,
Yeah.
like I watch all of them, which they kind of have their own energy. And then like I've
Yeah.
been watching Riker Road kind of since the beginning, and what
Okay.
they've been doing with Kyle and Eric and the metal and the hip hop and the back and forth, which
Mm-hmm.
are my two loves, and so that's kind of
Yeah.
what drew me
Yeah.
there. But
That's
like
awesome.
I find myself now, even as a reactor, when a new song comes out that I want to like that I have reacted to, and now I want to hear other people. I have a stable of like 8 to 10 reactors, including
Yep.
yourself, that I
Uh,
go and I watch their videos about this because
mm-hmm.
I want the different vibes on the
Yes.
song. I want to
Yes.
I want to know what somebody who is more vibey and calm has to say about
Mm-hmm.
the ending of Look to Windward. I want to know like
Mm-hmm.
what somebody who like Orion and Metal Burb, who are like really about the really heavy stuff and like really want to get
Yeah.
into that. I want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got Steve OG, who's like this like he focuses on the music. He focuses
Yeah.
on the
No.
production in a really
He's smart.
there's
Yeah.
another guy, I think his name is Chris Lipke or Lipke or
Uh,
something like
yeah.
that.
He's the vocal guy,
The
right?
vocal coach, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it as a vocalist myself, I will watch stuff that he does because it's actually
Mm.
helping me become a better vocalist. Because it's like, okay,
No. Yeah.
how is Rory from Dayseeker doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What is Vessel doing with his voice here? He did
Yeah.
one of Daughtry covering Bad Omens, and it was like the way that
Mm-hmm.
he was able to break. And I think that it's just a really cool. To be honest, like this community, this reaction community, I'm very much a rookie in this, but it's the coolest like online community that I've ever
It's
been a
very
part of.
cool. It's very cool. I'm very similar with like there are certain songs that I listen to, and it's not every song that I react to, but certain songs I listen to, and I'm like, oh, this is my obsession for the next week. Every
Yep.
day I'm going to be searching,
Uh-huh.
you know, such and such reaction, and I'm like,
Hmm.
who haven't I seen yet? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I have my whole like you, I have the whole list of people like, same a lot of the same people,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
and it's just like I gotta see what my buds are, what
Yeah.
they think about it,
Yeah.
internet friends, we
Yeah.
I don't know most of them, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just appreciate those different takes on things, and this is a really interesting thought. Like, there is a different lane for everybody, which I do appreciate because
Hmm.
I thought maybe there wasn't a space for somebody like me because I
Mm.
watch Nick. And Nick
Yeah.
is thoughtful, but he is also kind of a
Nocturnal.
cartoon sometimes. Yeah, no, Nick
Yeah.
Nocturnal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also watched like, Hardcore Keem. Do you know him?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's like got like punching the freaking mannequin in the
Yeah.
background. I'm like, yeah, like it's so funny, but
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not me, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so like, I just the fact that people comment and they're like, hey man, I like your vibe. Like, I
Mhm.
appreciate the thoughtfulness. I'm like,
Yeah.
whew, like that really,
Yeah.
that's what keeps me doing it, you know?
Yeah. I think it's like everything. Everything is good in moderation and everything's good in variety.
Yeah.
I think that there are definitely those people out there who are like diehard. This is my reactor. This is who I'm gonna. But in my experience,
Right.
like I've had so many people, especially on this Ren journey, who are like, we are constantly looking for new Ren reactors because we
Mm.
want to. It's this idea of being able to experience to as close as you can get to experiencing listening to it for the first time by
Mm-hmm.
listening to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else listen to it for the first time,
Yep.
and kind
It's
of
like
that.
drugs, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Like,
yeah.
it's like I just need that high of like
Hmm.
feeling those
Yeah.
like those
When
brand
that
new.
moment, there's a moment in this song and you're like,
Yeah.
you're waiting for that.
Yeah.
My obsession for the
Yeah.
longest time was 21 Pilots. They did the video game awards. I don't know if you ever
Mm.
watched that video or if
I have
you're
not seen that
familiar
one.
with them. Um, so 21 Pilots is associated with Arcane, which is the
Oh,
Netflix
okay.
show that
Hmm.
is based off of League of Legends. And
Right. Yeah.
so which is actually like Linkin Park was associated with that
Yeah.
this last
The Heavy as
season.
the Crown, right?
Yep, Heavy as the Crown. So 21 Pilots performed live on the video game award. I think it was the video game
Oh.
awards. Uh, or no, was it? Because it was Arcane. It might have been a different. Might have been a different award show, but they performed for it, and he hit this note that is in no recordings. It was the first time that he had ever hit. It was like a
Oh.
borderline scream at one part, and
Okay.
it's
Okay.
a very somber song. It's a very sad
Yeah.
song, and he hit the and it went viral everywhere. And that was my obsession. I had to have
Yes.
watched 50 reactions of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just different people from different walks of life doing it, and it's just fun. It's so fun
Yeah.
to just like experience this music with other people and see
Mm-hmm.
their reactions I'm not saying there's not toxicity in these comment threads, but of any
Sure.
genre of
Sure.
YouTube video, I feel like reaction videos have the least amount of toxicity versus other kinds of YouTube
Yeah.
content, especially video game. Video game content on YouTube
Mm.
is so toxic because people have their
Yeah.
opinions
Everyone thinks they can play better than you, and
and
yeah.
they have their opinions and they don't think you should have yours. And so
Exactly. Yeah.
it's a very it can, and there's a lot of great people in that space too, but so
Sure.
we've talked a lot about music and stuff, but what are some things that you are really into outside of music? I know you briefly mentioned video games. Is that something that you're
Yeah.
still really into? Okay.
Yeah. I don't have as much time for it as I would like, partially because of YouTube.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've always been way into video games. You know, I grew up, I had a GameCube,
Oh yeah.
I had the Wii, and then I got into PC gaming for a long time.
Okay.
Um, and then just recently, after COVID, I bought a PS5,
Heck
and I've
yeah.
been like, all these PlayStation games I've never played
Uh-huh.
before. It's similar to the music thing. I'm like, I
Yeah.
got 10 years of PlayStation games
Yeah.
that I have never touched. So like
Uh-huh.
I literally just finished Last of Us 1 and 2 for the first time
What did you
last
think?
week.
What did you think?
Incredible. Like
Yeah.
I'm like mad that I'm never gonna play a game that's gonna affect me like that ever again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
yeah,
will. Have you played the God of War games yet?
not yet. Not
Okay,
yet.
because I will tell you this: the God of War 2018 God of War will affect you in that way.
Oh,
It
okay. All
is.
right.
It is. I think the 2018 God of War is top 5 game of all time for me.
Wow. Okay.
It is
It's on my
phenomenal.
list.
But yeah, The Last of Us. I mean, I remember playing that for the first time on my PS3 because it came
Yeah.
out right before the PS4 came out. It came out in the 6-month span. Like it came out on the PS3 and then 6 months later the PS4 came out and then they did like a remaster, but I played it on that original PS3.
Okay.
And then same thing with Last of Us Part 2, I played on PS4. And there's a little bit of so I'm obsessed with Troy Baker, the voice actor,
Yeah, he's
who does
great,
Joel. And I got to meet him a few years ago at a convention, and he was
Oh,
just
sick.
like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And so like his Joker in the Arkham games and just other
Oh,
things that he's
yeah.
done. That game is so you just finished the game recently. Have you been holding off on watching the show then? Or have you been watching it?
We finished this like so basically when we played Last of Us 1 and we finished it maybe last spring.
Okay.
My wife and I kind of were trading off,
Gotcha.
or I would play a few chapters and then she would play the same chapters while I watched, basically.
That's amazing.
She's like, I need you to sit right next to me while I play this scary game.
Yeah.
So we did that and we watched the first season. We like finished the game before we watched the first season of the show. And then we heard the second season was coming out. We're like, shoot, we got to play the second game.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. Let's try to get it done. And of course, we did not get it done in time, even for the finale. But we finished it, I mean, maybe 2 weeks ago. And then we blasted through the second season in a few days.
Yeah. So without spoiling it, because the show is so popular right now and it's kind of bringing people back to the games. But what were your thoughts on what happened but what happened in the games and then also like what happened in season 2 of the show?
So I think what happened in the games, I think the games handled very, very well, and it was extremely nuanced, and the highs were super high and the lows were incredibly low.
Yeah.
And I really like I said, I've never felt like this after finishing a game. Like I just had to stare into the middle distance for an hour after I finished it. Like I was like, my life is ruined. Like this is insane, But the show just, it was good. Like the moments where they like would connect with like little references to the game, like using the bottle to distract the clickers or little set pieces that I'm like, oh, I know exactly where that's from.
Yeah.
That stuff really got me excited. But the writing of certain characters, specifically Ellie, I feel like Ellie's writing, I didn't love. I just, there was this like desperateness that I felt in the game from Ellie, and in the show she just was so lighthearted and still like Ellie from the first season. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't put that on Bella Ramsey at all. I don't think that's her fault. I think she can do scary because she was doing scary in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I was gonna say
when she was a kid.
She's been doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, but So I feel like I missed that from Ellie. And I also missed Abby's, like, when I saw her, like, for the first time, I was like, this person is a force of nature.
Yeah.
Like, you don't mess with Abby. And I just didn't get that from this actress. Like, her voice is great. I feel like her face is like super, like, one to one with Abby. But, like, there's just certain scenes where I was just like, I'm not scared of her. I just didn't feel there were certain scenes where I was like, oh, okay, this is a psycho, but like I just didn't feel that like when she's on screen, she's commanding the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I put that down to the writing.
So we'll stick to just the video games for this next question. Though. So for you, when you finished, were you Team Ellie or Team Abby?
I don't think I had a team at the end. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, like when they first are confronted at Seattle, the end of Abby's Seattle Day 3.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I now have experienced this whole epic saga as Abby, and I get it. I understand. Like, I don't condone everything, but I get it. In the same way that I don't condone everything Joel or Ellie did.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to hurt like my favorite character. And then to have it flipped at the end again, and like just that scene at the end where Ellie's just kind of sitting on the beach. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so rough, like, but I think I just left it like, I don't think there's a right answer here, I kind of like that.
Yeah. To me, it kind of, it asks that question about like, what's humanity and what is good and what is bad. And it really comes down to perspective. Because I think that you can look at either side of that story and you can say, well, they're valid in the way that they handled this. Maybe they didn't handle it perfectly. Maybe they went a little extreme in this way or this way, but I get it. And I like the idea of basically them presenting this idea that nothing is black and white, everything is gray, because it kind of feels like that's how what the real world is like too, and
Yeah.
it feels very much. Again, talking more so the game than anything, but it
Yeah.
felt like a very realistic depiction of if this happened, if this was reality and it happened to our
Yeah.
world, this is the questions that people would have to ask. This is the morality that they would have to wrestle with
Yeah.
on what's good and what's bad. So besides The Last of Us, what are some of the games like when you got that PS5 and you kind of like were opened to this whole world of I think the PS Plus goes all the way back to PlayStation 2, maybe even PlayStation
Yeah.
1.
There's a lot
So
of
there's
stuff
a
on
lot there. What
Yeah.
were some of the games that you just like fell in love with and that really like got you back into gaming a lot?
Yeah. Spider-Man, PS4, like that was a day one. I bought the PS5 and I bought Spider-Man and Miles Morales. I bought them like, and I jumped right into that game and I didn't look back. Like,
That's
oh,
one of 5 games that has ever made me sob. The
dude,
the Spider-Man,
oh
the
my,
first Spider-Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
the ending with Doc Ock and everything, like,
Yeah.
just absolutely wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so like just to
Same.
feel
I have him tattooed
the
on
like the
on
web
my
swing.
calf.
Oh, that's sick. Just like to finally feel to play a game where they got the web swinging and like
Yes.
the like the velocity and like the
Uh-huh.
exploration of New York, right? Like I was like,
Yeah.
this is what it feels like to be
Hmm.
Spider-Man. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that one was huge for me. And Miles Morales was also really, really
Oh,
good as
yeah.
well.
It was much shorter than I
Yeah.
wish that story would have been longer than the 10 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you ever find yourself, because I did all the time, where I would pull the game up and I would literally just swing through the city. I'd like try to find the highest buildings and I'd go to the top of them and
Yes.
I'd jump
Yeah.
off and I'd put on some vibey music or whatever. And I'd literally just, because it can take 5 minutes to go from one end of the city to the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes longer than that, depending on like the route
Yeah.
that you're going. And the thing that I appreciated about it was this attention to detail when you were
Yeah.
down in the trenches. Like I kid you not, my partner has been to New York a couple of times on work trips, and this
Okay.
last one that she went on was when I started playing Spider-Man 2. I
Okay.
just got a PS5 at the end of last year, and
Okay.
so I had played Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales on my PC. But once they got ported over, I'd started Spider-Man 1 on
Nice.
PS4, and then I got rid of my PS4, got a new gen Xbox, and then wasn't really able to finish it. But so when I got my PS5, I started playing that. And it was shortly after that when she went on this trip to New York, and I was like, "Where are you staying? Like, give me the cross streets, because I want to see if this is like how."
Oh.
I kid you not, I found it and I sent her a text and I was like, "I'm looking at the building that you're in right now. Like, I can see the door, I can see
That's
the
awesome.
accuracy and the attention to detail in the game
Yeah.
is at such a small, what would seem like insignificant level, is such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's the best
Man.
iteration of Peter Parker Spider-Man, I think, since the 90s cartoon.
Honestly, it's so good. And like I think I don't remember the guy's name who did the voice acting.
Yeah, I'm not
Yuri something.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so good. Like so emotional and like it has this such a great I don't know, the great arc of like, you know, one thing I really like about Spider-Man is that like he's just a kid. He's like a
Yeah.
teenager. He doesn't know what he's doing, and so I feel like you really feel that, especially in the first game. You know, like he's in over his head and all this stuff, and it just feels so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And man, it's just such a beautiful game. That was like day one purchase. Half the reason I bought a
Yeah.
PS5.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So besides video games, what are some of the other things that you really
Yeah.
enjoy doing, that you have a passion for?
Recently, it's been reading, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
So I grew up reading a lot. Like I was one of those kids who would go to the library
Mm.
and they would have one of those like reading contests.
Yeah.
Read 20
Oh yeah.
books this summer and you
With the
get a
bookmark that you'd get like a punch or a stamp on.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's like you get a little. I don't know what the prize was. I'm sure
Yeah.
it was nothing important, but boy, did I want it when I was
I
a
think
kid.
it was like a free Little Caesars pizza was like what I was
Yes,
getting or
it
something
was
like
like a
that.
pizza. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, something silly like that. Like, yeah, and so I was like a voracious reader when I was a kid.
Mm.
I read The Lord of the Rings when I was 7, which is
I own
wild.
3 versions of those books. Like I own
Yes,
the
yeah.
big like Barnes and Noble compendium size
Oh,
version,
nice.
and I own a movie version with like the movie art on it, and then I
That's the
own
one I
like
had. Yeah.
the old style no cover jacket on it
Oh
hardcover.
wow.
So good.
Yeah, I unfortunately mine are the movie versions, the really tiny little movie
Hmm.
versions.
Yeah.
I don't like them, but like those are the ones that my mom bought me when I was really young, and
Yeah.
I will treasure them forever.
Yeah.
But similar to a lot of this stuff, I in college I stopped reading because I was busy,
Mm.
and then it was like if I got through a book a year, it would be a miracle.
Yeah.
So I read like every John Green book when those
Mm.
came out. Um,
The
and
Fault in Our
then
Stars still makes me cry.
yeah, man,
That is
that
him,
was a
isn't
good.
it? That's
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Green, isn't it? Okay.
that's like
Yeah.
his big break,
And
I
then
think.
Is it Finding Alaska? Is that the name?
Yes,
That one
yeah,
broke me. That one broke me.
dude, yeah, that one I read in high school, and that was rough, but
Yeah.
it's a good one.
So good.
But yeah, so I struggled finding my way with books again because it was sort of medium that I really really love,
Hmm.
but I don't know, I couldn't find time to do it. I couldn't like physically like find a space to sit down and be comfortable without my back hurting or whatever,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And so this past year, somebody mentioned Libby to me. It's the
Oh yeah.
library
The library connection. Yeah.
audiobooks app.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, audiobooks, huh? Interesting.
Hmm.
Like I listened to a couple of those growing up, and
Yeah.
boy, I listened to a ton of podcasts,
Yeah. Same.
D&D stuff and whatever.
Oh
And
snap! You're into
so,
D&D?
oh yeah.
All right. When we're done with the reading conversation, we're gonna have to move to D&D because
Okay, yeah.
I have literally a D20 and a dragon.
Oh,
tattooed
sick.
On my, on
Okay,
my
all
arm.
right. Perfect, perfect. So, yeah, so I actually just finished listening to so I similarly with the music, I pick a podcast, I start from episode 1, I go all the end. I
Mhm.
did My Brother and Me. I don't know
Oh,
if you know them.
so good.
They're so good. It took me
Yeah,
like 2
that's
years.
so. Are you an Adventure Zone fan then as well?
Yes. So I also then I did the Adventure Zone,
Oh,
and then
so
I
good.
started watching Dimension 20
Oh yeah, Dropout.
and NADPod,
Okay.
which is the most recent one, which is
Yeah.
Murph from Dimension 20.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I interviewed Brendan Lee Mulligan on an that old comic book podcast that I did.
Oh, sick.
He was at a convention, and I got to interview him. And he is
Dude.
because it was a comic book podcast. That was kind of what got my foot in the door because he wrote a book called Strong Female Antagonist.
Yes, I haven't read that yet, but I've heard it's good.
It's so good. So
Yeah.
that was like my hook to be like, you did write comics. You did write. I really just want to talk to you about Dungeons and Dragons and dinosaurs, but
Yes.
let's do yeah.
Yeah. So I all these podcasts, and I finished NADPod, caught up to it recently,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I would listen to 5-6 episodes a week, and I found myself with all this time now while I'm driving back and forth to work or doing menial tasks at work with nothing to do but listen to music, which I do a lot. But I was like, I love to consume stories, and I was like, oh, just let me do some of these books, So I listened to the two Hank Green books that I hadn't finished.
Yeah.
And one
Looking
John
for
Green book
Alaska.
that
That's the name, isn't it? It's not Finding
Yes,
Alaska. It's Looking for Alaska.
Looking for Alaska. Yeah. So I listened to like some of those, and then I had a friend recommend me this thriller called "The Only One Left"
Okay.
by Riley Seeger. It's like a
Not familiar
haunted
with that.
house kind of spooky.
Okay.
I don't know. It was cool, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is easy to listen to and fun.
Yeah.
So I was like, I literally started looking like best thrillers, best books to listen to on audiobook.
Yeah.
And so I started, and I finally listened to The Martian, which I've been wanting to listen to forever.
Great book.
Incredible. I listened to Project Hail Mary, which was incredible. And so I've just absolutely been ravenous for books recently.
Yeah.
I've read 30 books this year so
That's
far,
amazing. Yeah.
which has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm reading Stephen King. It's a brand new book called Never Flinch,
Okay.
and it's his first like whodunit, which is interesting. He's never done like a
Interesting.
mystery book.
Okay.
And because I saw it on TikTok, he was talking about it, and he's like, "I wanted to write a mystery, and
Yeah.
boy, is it hard to write with a plot." But
Nice.
it's been fun, you know. And so
Yeah.
I've just been like, I pick in series, and you know the way Libby works, you gotta
Hmm.
kind of reserve it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And so as books come up, I've just been doing that. So I cranked through a bunch of thrillers and like all this really heavy stuff, and then
Yeah.
I needed something a little bit lighter, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
a
Have
little
you
Stephen King mystery.
have you dipped into like Audible or anything like that at all?
I did. I listened to The Martian and Project Hail Mary on there because they're like exclusives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
There's a
I
lot
just
that are
don't want to.
included in the membership, which is really nice.
Yes,
But
yeah.
prior to like Libby and that stuff being a really big thing, like I have almost 200 books in my
Oh,
Audible
sick.
collection.
Nice.
But I enjoyed it because you would get a credit and it matter like how long the book was. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
basically for the longest period of time I was like, can I find a book that's 20 plus hours that I can get for this? So I got
Uh-huh.
like I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes guy. So like
Oh,
I
sick.
loved Sherlock Holmes growing up as a kid because I loved the mystery and
Mm-hmm.
I love noir type stuff, detective type
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And so I would just like I got like the entirety of the Sherlock Holmes collection and like all of these
Oh,
different things. But
nice.
I go back and forth between nonfiction and fiction. So like
Okay.
the nonfiction one I'm working on right now is it took me long enough. So Ready Player One is my favorite book probably of all time.
It's good. That I
And
just finished that in December.
and the Will Wheaton audiobook is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've been intentionally holding off on Ready Player 2 because I was
Mm,
really nervous that it was going to taint my view of Ready Player 1. And
same.
I'm about 2/3 of the way through it right now, really enjoying it.
Okay, great.
I don't know that it's for everybody. It's
Sure.
definitely it's a very different feeling story than the first one,
Okay.
but it's still really enjoyable and it's still Will Wheaton. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
from an
He's so good.
audiobook perspective, really solid. And then I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Okay.
So Becky Lynch put out a book not too long ago called Becky Lynch the Man, she's one of my favorite wrestlers, and then
Cool.
Seth Rollins, her husband, is another one of my favorite wrestlers, and so it was really really cool hearing that, and I like to listen to a lot of like memoir type books from
Mm,
people that I like enjoy. So like Matthew McConaughey's was like a really really solid book.
mm,
Obama's book was a really solid book.
mm-hmm.
Um, uh, there's been quite a few of those style books that I really enjoy. But audiobooks has
Yeah.
been such a lifesaver for me because
Yeah.
I really struggle physically reading. Not that I
Mm,
can't read, but like I am so ADHD that like
yeah.
I find myself many times reading the same paragraph over and over again before I can
Yeah.
finally advance. And for
Same.
whatever reason, I can retain things through an auditory way much better.
Mm-hmm.
And so audiobooks were like a huge shift for me where there was a period of time where I felt so disconnected from reading and from novels, which I
Yeah.
love, but like I
Mm-hmm.
just was really having a hard time actually getting through books. And so
Mm,
similarly to you, I've had various jobs over the years where I've been able to really just like right now I'm a tier two network engineer in IT, and I'm a
oh,
traveling
cool.
engineer. So I go on
Mm.
site to all the different clients and actually like
Oh,
do the
okay.
hands-on stuff. So I'm in a car a lot of the day. And so I listen
Yeah.
to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I didn't hear you mention it, but that doesn't necessarily mean, have you gotten into Critical Role at all yet?
You know, not yet.
Okay.
It's a little intimidating because they're
It
so
is.
long.
They're 4 to 4.5 hour episodes, which is very, very
Yeah.
intimidating. But I will say this. Um, the story, Matt Mercer is, in my opinion, Matt Mercer and Brendan Lee Mulligan are the two best DMs on planet Earth. And
Yeah,
so
I
the
think so.
storytelling that Matt is able to do, and also the cast, the main cast that they have on that show, are fantastic. And so
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Okay.
To be honest, I would say start with campaign 2, not campaign 1,
Oh, interesting.
because campaign 2 is, so I don't know if you watched the animated series on Prime called Vox
I've
Machina.
not.
Okay.
I've
You
not.
should. Really, really
Okay.
good show. So Vox Machina is based on the first campaign. The problem is the first campaign, a good majority of the beginning of it was before Critical Role is what they are now. So the sound quality is not great. The video quality is not great. And
Yeah.
it's more difficult to listen to if you're not tied to the people. So like
Yeah.
I started on campaign 2, fell in love with these voice actors, fell in love with Matt Mercer as a DM, and then went back to campaign 1 where I was
Okay.
already invested in who these people were and I knew the level of storytelling there.
And
But
you
it's a
could
lot.
look at,
It's a lot.
yeah,
It's
and
thousands of hours of
yeah.
content at this point because most of the
Yeah.
episodes are 3.5 to 4.5 hours long. But what it does mean is you're not going to be in any shortage of content for a very, very long
True.
time.
True. Yeah.
So D&D, so
Yeah.
something that you're super into. Has that kind of been a lifelong thing? Is that something that's a little bit more recent? What was your introduction to Dungeons and Dragons?
So when I was in high school, we had this pseudo D&D campaign. I don't know what kind of bonkers rules we were playing by, but they were not in any rule book because
Yeah,
nobody that I knew owned the rule book.
yeah.
But we had a tabletop RPG campaign that we played all the way through high school, partially through college, and right up until one of my best friends got married. We kind of completed the campaign the night before his wedding,
Oh
which
wow,
was kind of a beautiful thing. His
that's a long
brother,
campaign.
yeah, yeah. His brother and like did this kind of like getting the gang back together, Luke's getting married kind of
I
final
love that.
wrap up
I
thing,
love
which is
that.
really, really cool. And I've always loved it. Like just the because I don't know, I was a very imaginative kid.
Hmm.
I would run in the woods and find sticks, and this is the legendary sword of whatever
Yeah.
now. And I would run around on the playground with my friends and be like, okay, I'll be Frodo, you be Smeagol. And we're running
You
through Mount.
stupid fat hobbits.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever could do the voice best, it gets to be
Yeah.
Smeagol. You know. So I've always loved that. I love fantasy, but similarly with music, I don't have any friends who know this stuff. So
Yeah.
I like when I found, these podcasts like the Adventure Zone and
So
Dimension
good.
20
The
and like I was
McElroys
like,
just bring joy in every time they
yes,
open their mouth. It's just,
yes,
it's,
they're so funny.
they're so great.
Yeah, yeah. And I have not started the new season yet. So
Okay.
it's called uh,
I don't think I've
so
started the new season either.
there's one episode out.
Okay. So it's like brand new.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's called Royale, and
Okay.
it's like Battle Royale with 50 wizards.
That's
Oops,
sounds
all wizards.
incredible.
Yeah, and Griffin's DMing, so it should be great.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just kind of in lieu of actually playing, I've been just watching Dimension 20 and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I've gotten my wife into it through Dimension
That's
20 and through
amazing.
Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so actually, and then just within the past month or so, I've gotten some new friends who moved up here from down south, and I was like, I was like, hey, I heard that you were into D&D, and he's like, oh yeah, yeah. It's like, I'd love to play. And then at the table, somebody else was like, oh, I've always wanted to play too, and I'm like, I had no idea. So we're putting together something. I think I'm going to end up being the DM, which I don't know how I feel
Have
about,
you ever
but
been
we'll
a
see
DM?
how it goes. Kind of.
Okay.
I did like a very short little, Pathfinder-ish campaign. It was all weird homebrew rules because we were downloading PDFs of stuff off the internet.
Yeah.
because nobody wanted to buy anything.
Oh, dude, you just gave me a great idea. I need to get like 4 or 5 of you reactors together. So I've kind of become a forever DM. I've been DMing for over 10 years.
Okay,
And it just I've just settled into that role, and I love it.
yeah,
I love, because I'm a
yeah,
writer. So I love
yeah,
coming up
yeah.
with stories, and obviously as someone who does improv as well, like I love being able to say, all right, I'm going to give myself 3 bullet points, and then wherever this session goes, that's where we're going to go.
Yeah.
And I'll run, like right now I'm running Horde of the Dragon Queen, and then once we're done with that, we're going to be doing Rise of Tiamat, and
Oh, sick.
the whole Tyranny of Dragons thing, which is the largest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I've done Lost Mines of Phandelver, I've done Storm King's Thunder, I've done Curse of Strahd, which is the most difficult
Oh,
thing I've ever played.
I've heard it's pretty rough. Yeah.
It is rough. It's very difficult to come out of that without a at least one player permanently dying. I mean I've had a player permanently die in Horde of the Dragon Queen, because he
Okay.
rolled
Wow.
4 natural 1s consecutively, which is like the
Oh, you
percentage is
hate
like
to
a
see it.
0.000125 chance of that even
Yeah.
happening. And it was like, I'm sorry, buddy. I can't keep making excuses for why you're not dying. Like
Right.
I just can't.
Yeah. Oh no.
But I need to put together like, and we all just need to do like a big live stream and just do like a 3 or 4 hour one shot
Yes.
because there's some other reactors that I've spoken to who are also into this, and I think it would be a lot of fun
Dude, I would be
to get
so
all
down.
of us on a stream and do that. So I'll keep that in mind. But as a
Okay.
player, what's kind of your vibe? Like what's your kind of go to?
So I always used to do sneaky,
Rogue.
roguish,
Okay.
emo, too dark backstory,
Yeah. Both my parents
Rec-
died.
Yeah, both my parents died, and I was raised by wolves, and the wolves died, and like,
Yeah.
it's too much,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always had these like everyone was like had a katana, and it was like everything's like just too much.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been really interested in spellcasters.
Oh yeah.
I really
Is
want to
that because
play.
of Baldur's Gate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Partially
figured.
because of Baldur's Gate, yeah, and partially because of Adventure Zone, because I just love Taco so much,
Yes.
and
Oh, so
just
good.
the creativity of like a evocation wizard is super cool.
Yeah.
So I really want to play. I've had this idea for a character for a while. Like I want to do a sorcerer from a family of wizards who's kind of like a school
Oh,
dropout. He's like
interesting.
he bums around, he hates school, he doesn't study, and one day he just gets this immense magical power, and his parents are like resent him for it because like
Yeah.
you didn't study, you didn't earn this,
Yeah.
and so they kick him out, and then he has to go and like find his own way in the world, and he's just kind of figuring out his magical powers as he goes
Yeah.
along. I would love to play this bratty kid. I think it'd be so funny.
Just lean into like a Daredevil story where like he just gets toxic ooze that is like from the gods, and it like
Yes,
gives him
yes.
these powers.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't find anybody because it sounds like you're going to be DMing this other thing, create that character, and I would love to give
Okay.
you an opportunity to play it.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
That would be so much fun. Well, I want to be sensitive to your time, but
Sure.
dude, I am really looking forward to continuing to talk to you like after this.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Like I already loved your
thank you.
channel, but just like it seems like we've got a lot in common as well.
Yeah,
and
man, this is crazy.
It's been so great to. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's been so much fun.
No, this has been a blast. Yeah, absolute. So much fun.
So real quick, as we kind of wind down, what is the best place for people to find you so that they can support you? And I'll put all your links down in the description as well.
Sure.
But just to kind of give a little shout out to yourself, and we had kind of talked before, you're working on some potential new stuff that I want to kind of give you an opportunity to talk about as well.
Yeah. So it's the YouTube channel. That's where I put everything. I have Instagram where I do kind of concert photography and stuff, but you can check it out if you want. It's all David P. Wolfe on everything.
Okay.
It would be David Wolfe if it weren't for my arch nemesis. There's another guy named David Wolfe out there who's this like crackpot vax denier hoax
Oh,
guy, but
interesting.
he's real famous, and he steals all my usernames. So someday, someday I'll get it from him. But it's David P Wolfe on YouTube and
Awesome.
Instagram if you want to check that out.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so I'm working on some kind of guitar focused content because I've played guitar for a long time now, and I'm getting back into playing alternative music with guitar. So I'm working on something where it kind of matches up with the way I do reactions, where
Okay.
it's an exploration of an artist from page one to the end of their career.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I want to do these videos where it's like, rather than like the 10 heaviest riffs or the
Mm-hmm.
10 greatest whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
here's the evolution from when they were a weird garage band to massive success. So I'm
Interesting.
working on a little bit of that. I'm also just working on random covers of songs that inspire me,
Yeah.
because I am constantly working on an album that
Mm.
may or may never come out, and the genre changes, like every couple of years.
If you
But
ever
I
want a
think that,
vocalist,
dude, I do actually. I might need to talk to you about this afterwards
we
because I
can
had a
definitely
thought.
do that. I'm always down to
I yeah, yeah.
collab.
Yeah, because I thought honestly the best way that I can think to learn how to do music production and stuff is to just, hey, I'll just copy the songs that I love and that inspire me, and when I want to make songs that sound like that, I will
Hmm.
have done the production in some way or another
Yeah.
by copying Loathe or copying
Hmm.
Under Oath or
Yeah.
whatever. So I'm
Yeah.
working on a cover of "Is It Really You" right now
Okay.
by
Heck yeah.
Loathe. So
Very
it's
cool.
coming out pretty good.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm really looking forward to that content. I love
Nice.
I love and it's not just because I'm also a musician who's a reactor, but I love reactors who are like involved in music, whether that's like
Yeah.
as a singer or as a player or as a producer or an engineer or whatever. Like I always, I think it adds so much more, and it gives a level of insight that is just, it's a different kind of insight than those who are just enjoyers of music versus like who actually play
Mm,
it. So, dude,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm super looking forward to that. All of you out there, make sure that you go find David P. Wolfe. Search David Wolfe on YouTube. He's the music one, not the anti-vaxxer. And make sure that you subscribe to him, and just start going through his videos. I know that there's a lot of people on my channel that are huge Linkin Park fans. Go back and start with David's Linkin Park stuff because it's really, really
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
content. And dude, I'm so grateful to have you here, and
Yeah.
look forward to more. But as I usually say in my videos, thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button, click the like button, click that little bell, follow me on socials, and we'll see you guys back here for another episode of Between the Lines.